Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of KashCraft. My name is Kash and this is episode 12. Today is a very big day. We are going to be building the center tent of our circus mega base. This is going to be a huge project and there is a ton of work we need to do today. Let's get started. So I need a ton of resources, so I've been doing a little bit of gathering. I got some wool from my sheep farms over in the industrial district. And I have some gravel. Oh yeah, I should probably mention, the circus is going to be red and white, and we're going to use a bit of a gradient, so we need a bunch of different blocks for that gradient. Which means I need to do some adventuring to get some blocks, so that means nether travel. Which makes me nervous, I really don't want to die. But anyway, let's get going. Nether travel is always nerve-wracking. Okay, we have made it. At least I think I have, if my coordinates are right. If not, we are probably going to be very far off from the target. Here we go. Let's see. I'm not seeing what I need yet. Oh, there it is. Calcite. That is the first block we need. And we need a lot of it. There we go. On to the next location. Gosh, navigating the nether is hard. This thing is such a maze. Oh my gosh. And trying to kill you all the time. Ooh, a wither skeleton head. That's nice. I would love to get a beacon. Ooh, another head. That's exciting. I get a third. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I might be in trouble. That's a lot of, whatever these are. Zombie piglins. There's our third wither skeleton head. Let's get that. So we could fight the wither this episode if we want. I don't know about that. That sounds like a lot, but that'd be cool. Alright, Portal 2. Let's see if we got the right spot. Whoa. What did I just get? Use a nether to travel 7 kilometers in the overworld. Cool. I did not know that was an achievement, but I guess that's nice. And there's our Badlands. I'm gonna grab some terracotta real quick. This will be for the red part of the tent. Doesn't that look like a face? I kind of think it looks like a face. Like you have the head up here and then the 2 little white eyes and then, I don't know. Kind of funny. But we have a shulker box of terracotta, so on to the next place. And the last block I need, and I'm a bit embarrassed to say this, but I need diorite. I don't know if I'm going to use diorite in the final build, but I at least want some to be able to test it out. Alright, let's head back home. Now, where home is a good question. And we made it. Alright, we got our resources in place. So now we get to start on the tent. This is going to consist of 3 parts. We are first going to create the structure out of dirt, and then I'm going to color it with the blocks I want, and then I'm going to add the details. So for the structure, I have the side profile right here. So I'm going to start creating semicircles using this side profile so we kind of fill in the surface. Then I'm going to smooth it out just so it looks like a smooth surface, looks like fabric draped over a structure. And then I will copy it from one half to the other half. So yeah, let's get started. So why do this strategy? It's a lot of work. Like I'm basically building this circus twice between the dirt and then in the actual colors. I found it to be a really powerful tool to create organic builds in Minecraft. I mean, Minecraft's a block-based game, so most of the things you create are going to be a lot of right angles, rectangles, squares. So because of that, making anything that's not blocks and squares, circles, or really anything like organically shaped is really hard to do. So using this strategy gives a much simpler and more defined way to create organic shapes than, just placing blocks, flying out, seeing if it looks good, and changing that. I mean, this circus tent is humongous, and I could not just place a couple blocks, fly out, see how it looks, and come back. That would just take too long. So while the strategy is kind of time consuming, it's worth it in the end, and you get a better looking build that you like much more. And let's be honest, any sort of mega base is going to have a ton of grinding and a ton of building, so I am just embracing it. And once we have this half done, I'm going to use commands and just put on the other side. Just kidding, that was a joke. I don't use commands, it's survival only. What we're actually going to do is build this block by block. I'll probably have to take screenshots and then carefully use those to assemble this side, but it'll be worth it. This thing is going to look amazing when we're done. Just going to take a while to get there. Oh, and I am absolutely using circle generator guides to create these circles. I just have like a big chart pulled up, just using that to generate these circles. I could definitely not do this by hand. That would take way too long. Doing this gives me a lot of time to think. and I think I am excited for this circus. This has been the result of months of ideas and planning. When I started KashCraft, I decided that I wanted to make a circus, and now I get to finally do it, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see how this turns out and see just how amazing it's going to be. I truly think this is going to be one of my best builds. Alright, that's the first step of building the structure done. Now we need to smooth out this surface. It's very blocky right now. You can see kind of what we're going for with the fabric, but like especially up here just doesn't look too great. So let's just do some adjusting, adding blocks, taking away blocks, and go from there. And to do this step, I'm just trying to break up the surface, make it look interesting, not too repetitive. Going in a third person just so I can check all the angles. Remember, this is supposed to be canvas supported by like a wooden outline. We want it to make it look like it's draping down those supports and looks like gravity's acting on it, which is tough to do, but breaking up the surface like this really helps. See, you can already see what parts I've adjusted, and it looks so much better. A lot more smooth and not so like, staircasey like this bottom part is. This is definitely the most boring part of the building process, but a very necessary part. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Okay, here's an idea. What if we add like little raises in the fabric along the edges, make it look like some sort of stake is like holding the tent up in that spot, and then the fabric's kind of draping between the stakes? I don't know, that sounds kind of tricky to build, but I think I could do it. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is raise the part with the stake up a block or two, and then kind of add a little curve going from that stake to the next one. So maybe drop this down like a block or two. Just try and get like a sloping curve going on. I don't know how this is going to look, so we're going to test it. And we get something like this going. We have like one pole here, one pole there, and then just kind of sloping between the two. Let's put this for the rest of the circus. Oh, that looks so cool. Now we just need to incorporate these into the rest of the fabric and finish smoothing out, and we are done with this step. Wow, we are done with the smoothing out part. This thing looks amazing. If we just fly by, I love these little swoops for the stakes. They look so good. They add such a dynamic element to the build, and it really ties it all together. But while this looks super cool, we have to do this on the other half. So what I'm going to do is very slowly copy this block by block over here. So let's roll that time lapse. That was a lot of grinding and a lot of brain power, but this is looking amazing. We are one step closer to getting the circus done. It's crazy how we were able to make something so complex and so organic out of just doing like circles and then a little bit of shaping and copying that over, and here we are. I love it, and it is going to look even better once we get the colors in. We are going to add some flaps to the side of the tent later on, but I'm not worried about those right now. So the next step is to color the tent, but to do that, I need the right blocks, which means I need to convert a bunch of concrete. So I'm going to try to set up a concrete converter, see if that works. I don't really know how to make one of these, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Okay, after much trial and error, we got a system that works, so I'll just stand here, place concrete powder, and it automatically converts it. I'll have to mine it all, but this is a pretty nice system that speeds up the process. And 14 stacks later, here we are. Alright, so now I need snow blocks, which I'm going to set up a snow golem farm. There we go, there's our snow golem. I can start mining this, and there we go, infinite snow. That's really satisfying. And I decided to go with white concrete instead of diorite. I was trying out some gradients, and I like the concrete to calcite much more than the diorite to calcite, so we're going to do that. And now it is time to color the tent. This is going to be a long process. I'm a bit nervous to try it out, but We'll see how it goes. I would like to have a stripe for each of these little like swoops. So yeah, I'm gonna place some guiding blocks and see how that looks, and then we can fill in from there. And here we are. I just added some wool to signify the boundaries of like the color regions, just so when I'm doing the gradient, I already know where I want to place my blocks. For each of the layers, we have 12 stripes, and I decided to alternate them from the bottom layer to the top layer. So like right here is going to be a white stripe, and then on the top layer it's going to be a red. That way we get a little bit of fun, like circusy type vibe with our colors. As I talked about earlier, creating the structure out of dirt allows me to get the fabric look exactly how I want it to. Similarly, defining the boundaries of the stripes is going to make it easier for when I do the gradient, because I'm going to be pretty focused on gradienting and not so much on, getting these lines looking relatively straight. But we are ready to start coloring the tent. Let's roll another time lapse. Oh my gosh, it is done. So when you've been working on a Minecraft build for so long that it genuinely becomes annoying how fast the Minecraft days go by? Like literally, it took forever to make these stripes, and I just felt like I was constantly going to bed. Like it was just interrupting my flow. You are struggling with a build when the sun is making more progress than you are. It's not a good feeling. And it wasn't like I was doing something particularly hard. I mean, I have the structure made, I have the color regions defined. I was just placing blocks and doing this gradient, and it just took forever. But meaningless complaints aside, we have our circus tent colored. This thing is looking more and more like a circus. We do have this weird like ring separating like the two halves, and it's definitely looking a bit weird, but we're gonna put like a ornamental like ring around it, so it's gonna be covered up. I believe the next step is to add in the tent flaps so that this stops feeling like a weird roof and starts feeling more like a circus tent. I've been like dreading doing these tent sides. I don't exactly know what I want to make them look like. I have ideas, but I don't know. Okay, so what I'm thinking about doing is like putting the tent flap like on this block, like just a little bit inset from like this archway, and then having it kind of flow outside just slightly. And then in this little inset area, I can add, I don't know, some sort of like embellishment or like gold piece or something just like pretty that highlights like this area right here. And I want to do the red and white stripes a bit more often, maybe every like 4 or 5 blocks versus up here. Maybe we can add a little dark oak border to the edge of the circus tent just to kind of define like the top from the sides. And then we can add like our little centerpiece a little bit easier. And now I'm just working on shaping the sides a little bit. Here's an example of a side flap. We have it at its thinnest in the middle, at the center of the curve, and then it kind of billows out towards the sides. Kind of like, this center stake is like pulling it upward, whereas this side is a bit shorter and it has more room to like billow out towards the outside. Hopefully that makes sense. If we just kind of repeat this like in and out pattern around the circus, we're gonna have these really cool like windows right here. So let's try this. That's the structure on a quarter of it. I know I said I was going to break these up into like smaller stripes of color, but honestly, I think just like alternating the color of the panel with like the color of the stripe, like doing this as white where this stripe is red, I think that's going to make it look better and give a better overall effect. If we don't like it, we can always change it. First of all, I'm losing badly to the sun right now. Secondly, I lied. I like it more having smaller stripes. It just looks better. It breaks up the side flaps from the top of the tent, and if we fly around a bit, it just looks a lot better. So I now have the side flap for a quarter of the tent, but we still have 3/4 to go. So what I'm going to do is really just copy this segment 4 more times around here. Thankfully, my circus is pretty symmetric, so I can do that. So I guess let's do this. I really don't want to. Here's the perimeter, about halfway, and here's the last block. Hello. This tent is so big, it has an echo. Sorry, just kidding. But we have the tent flaps in, and this feels so weird after just having like open sides for a while. If we fly out, you can see them in place. And the way I manipulated the folds of fabric, we kind of get this like frame under each of these swoops, and I love that. But my brain actually hurts from that. That was so much harder than creating the structure of the circus top. At least with this, I had a process. This was just like figure it out and hope it works, and a lot of checking. But we got there. And now that we have the tent colored, now we could do the details. If you've seen some of my other videos, you might know that I like to use a story to guide my building process. While we already have the circus made, I want to come up with a story for the details. Just give an idea of what kind of details I can add to my build to make it feel more realistic and more personal. So maybe one guiding idea for the circus tent could be early electricity, or like when electricity was new, it was a new hot thing, and people were adding electricity and lights however they could, trying to create this marvelous displays, these like really impressive signs. Another theme is making the circus fancy, but in a gilded sort of way. Gilded meaning it looks like super fancy on the outside, but really it's just like tricks and illusions. Like it's fake gold paint or fake gems or stuff like that. Not actually fancy. I'd also like the tent to feel marvelous. And on a similar note, make it feel wondrous, maybe? Remember, this is a circus. We want to invite people of all ages to come, make them be wowed by what there is to see, and just really enjoy the whole experience. And as for some detail ideas, we could do a lot of gold-plated stuff to go along with the gilded theme. Maybe have some pops of color. Those might work really well. And overall, just make the circus feel really grand. If we follow these ideas, we're going to have an amazing circus tent. I suppose for our first detail, we should add an entrance to the circus. That's kind of important. Also, I'm sick of build montages. Let's just cut to the finished product. Here's the grand entrance. And now I want to work on the side flaps. I want to add a little frame in the center area. Add like some sort of detail or design. I don't know, just something to make this space really pop. And maybe adding a little swoop that reflects the top one just to create a little like teardrop shape for our frame to go. Also, I'm out of terracotta, so I get to run to the nether again. Alright, let's fly back to the Badlands. Get some terracotta and fly back. Okay, here's an idea for a frame. What if I did like a scene? I'm trying to do Starry Night right now. That famous painting with like that building and then the swirls of like white and gold. Maybe I could add a scene or a piece of artwork in each frame just to make each panel feel special and really stand out to this in the circus. Okay, hear me out. It's a weird collection of items, like we have the bell, we have like the ender rod, candles, just a bunch of random stuff, but it's not the individual elements that matter, it's them as a whole. We want to have this, blue background with white and gold like bursts of color. I actually really like how that turned out. It adds a whole new element to the circus and really gives it life and I guess that luxury that I was looking for in the details. And while I love the frame, I do not have enough time to do them all in this episode, so maybe we can do one per episode and just detail my adventures on them. Maybe do little pictures of what I did that day. That way we're always adding to the circus and keeping it interesting. Next we can work on the dark oak border. I want to add a little like spire to the top of each of these swoops. Just to add a little bit of detail, really tie the base together a bit more. So let's try it out. And here's the first spire. I really like the little pop of color right here, and I like how it just kind of sticks out and really emphasizes the peak of the swoop. Let's do it for the rest of the circus. Whoa, we are flying. Look at that. They are all done. And this looks so cool. This adds such like a majestic and marvelous aspect to the circus that was really missing, but it really adds to the story that we're going for. And I really like how the spire emphasizes the frame just below it. It helps draw attention to what's going on in that scene, and it looks really good. Now moving up, we can do the top color of the circus tent. I am just going to add a dark oak ring again and some fancy details. First, we will add a dark oak border, add a piece that is jutting out, add the cornerstone block, some some fancy details. And there's our first segment. Repeat once, twice, and again for a total of 4. Add some side pieces and we have our top ornament done. I wanted this to feel powerful, feel detailed, feel strong, and I feel like we definitely accomplished that. Now, the last step is the top. We are just going to do a nice pole and a flag. And just like that, we have the flag in. That's probably not the permanent design, but it's a placeholder for now. And with the flag done, that means our circus is complete, at least complete for now. If we look back at our story, we want it to be like early electricity, very fancy, marvelous, wondrous, and we definitely have that going on. All these details are meant to be eccentric, add really cool like effects, make it feel awesome, make it feel wonderful, and I really like how this turned out. I'm especially excited to work on these frames. I think they are going to look so good as we have more adventures in the future. And I'm also excited to work on the interior of the tent at some point. And you probably noticed from the last episode or from this episode that I have these outlines right here for other tents. I do plan to add some additional extensions to this main tent, but I wanted to get this thing complete first before adding anything on. So we will be doing that in the future. But everyone, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. This episode has run a bit long. This tent was so much fun to put together. It really challenged me as a builder, tested me in ways I hadn't thought about before, but I love how it turned out. It's all I could have imagined and more, despite my meaningless complaining. But if you enjoyed watching me put together this circus as much as I enjoyed making it, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm trying to grow my channel, and once I hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to do my first stream. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go sub. We are going to have so much fun with this circus. This is only the start. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.